Hi, my name is Daniel Ivan, or Daniel Ivan. I don't know how you would pronounce it in English, but in Spanish it is Daniel Ivan. I am starting this new content in my channel, English content devoted to participate into the Booktube community. So I find it proper just to introduce myself to the community and of course address some particularities that you're going to notice into this channel. So with no further ado, let's do this. I am making a version of this tag, of this Booktube Newbie Tag that I found on Jason Harrigan's channel and that I found, well, truly appealing to myself. It is a 10 question version of this tag. Of course, the true origin of this tag is just lost in the YouTube vacuum, and now the person that is told to be the originator of this tag is no longer on YouTube, so I create Jason's with this version. So question number 1. Why do you start this channel? This is not the first thing I've done with this channel. Actually, this channel has something like 10 to 12 years of existence. I first started this channel to publish certain video artwork that I've been doing throughout my adult life, and then I started to make booktube related videos, of course in Spanish, and well, now I am starting this new chapter in the channel, and the reason why is because I do consider the booktube in English to be a quite vibrant and beautiful community. I found a lot of truly amazing and interesting booktubers in the booktube in English community. Quite a lot of strong voices, and of course I would like to add my own voice and my own perspective into this dialogue. So basically the reason to start this is to participate, which is, I think, the main reason why anybody would this kind of endeavor. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? Well, first of all, being a Mexican and being a Latin American person, I think I can bring a lot of insight into Latin American literature or literature that has been written originally in Spanish, which is, I think, something booktube in English in general is not so populated with. So I think that part will be interesting. Something fun, perhaps, but actually quite unique is the fact that I am an ALS patient at this moment. I am dealing with this terminal disease. I think that gives me a certain kind of perspective, certain kind of point of view that is quite different. It has changed a lot my relationship with things in general and with books in particular. That is something that I think could be both interesting and unique and even fun. Why not? We are all walking the same path, but in different ways, and I am not sure that there's many terminal booktubers. Although if you know any, please let me know in the comments so I can, contact them and follow them, because of course I will be interested in such persons. What are you most excited for about this channel? Well, as I said before, starting this dialogue with Booktube in English is exciting enough. Of course, the opportunity to practice my English is just amazing. The chance to acknowledge my readings in English, which are quite a few, and in general to renew my contact and my admiration for this beautiful language. I have been enjoying English language for quite a long time now. Sometimes especially in Latin America, you can find certain people that are not so keen of English. They say it is the language of the empire, whatever that means. But I always say that English to me is the language of Shakespeare, is the language of Bukowski, is the language of William Blake. And I think when you really explore a language, when you truly try to learn it and to understand it and to find solace in the way a language constructs sense and beautiness, that's amazing. That's one of the most beautiful and humane experiences you can possibly have. That excites me a lot, to allow myself to communicate in this beautiful language and to explore, because of the nature of this channel, the inner beauty of English language. Why do you love reading? Well, I think in a broad sense, books and language and the whole concept of the human spirit are deeply linked. The aspirations and the dreams and the answers and questions that humanity has had throughout our history are answered and contained into thousands and thousands and thousands of books around the world, and in as many languages as you can think of. The sense of deep connection that you can find between two or more persons trying to know each other and to comprehend each other and to relate to each other in a beautiful, full manner. Somehow, I find that books are objects that do not lose their sense and their meaning throughout time. It doesn't matter if you read a book published 2 days ago or if you read a middle-aged manuscript. They are both containers of deep connection and of deep wisdom, and in that way each book is invaluable in its own nature. I think that's what's truly horrifying when we learn about books burning or books being destroyed, and we consider that a barbaric act, because we understand that it doesn't matter if the book content is, I don't know, negative or cruel or wrong. It is important for us as human beings to confront wrong thinking, to confront hate, to confront any idea that may be wrong, but that as an idea serves for our deeper understanding of who we are as a species, as humanity. What book or series got you into reading? The first book I remember buying by myself, and the book that I consider to be the center of my library is a small poetry book by Sylvia Plath called Ariel. It's such an exquisite collection of poetry and a beautiful account of her energy and her delicacy with words. And actually, nowadays my library is always organized with my collection of Sylvia Plath books at the center. To me, she is the cornerstone of why I read, how I read, and what I like to read. What questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? I think I would ask for them to show me their family photo collection. That's a thing that I do, because they tell a tale of those photographies, not only of our own lives, but of our siblings' lives or those of our ancestors, if we are lucky enough to keep such documents with ourselves. I've been lucky enough to be able to look at the family photo collections of most of the people that I consider my friends, and of course of a lot of other people that I consider interesting and that you have been kind enough to indulge me in such deviation of mine. So yeah, that's what I would ask my favorite booktuber. Show me your pictures, show me how your mom looked when she was 10, or your dad, or yourself. Show me that corner of that old street in which your grandma once walked or drove her bicycle. Those images are invaluable. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Well, first of all, I think for you, the viewer, the way I am speaking now because of my illness, I understand it is not something pleasant to listen to. I understand that perhaps because of that, but also because of my accent, it wouldn't be easy for you to listen to me. But I hope you bear with me and that you will join me on this new adventure. On the other hand, I think perhaps collecting the energy to make these videos and to plan them and to edit them and to do all the things that are part of this effort, because you know this illness is quite demanding and is quite difficult to achieve certain levels of energy, either to speak or to reach for books or for, I don't know, moving the tripods. All the energy required to do this might be a challenge, but I need to do this. I truly need to do this just to feel alive and to feel that I am still able to participate and to have, I don't know, a certain level of normality, if you understand what I am talking about. When did you start reading? Well, I started reading when I was 3 years old. One of the stories my mom liked to tell about me was that I started preschool learning how to read, and that was one of her major achievements, if you like. Fortunately enough, I grew up in a house where there were a lot of books all the time, because my dad worked all of his life into the book industry. So you will see a parade of new books and old books and upcoming writers and new editions and first editions and all kind of bookish goodness that you can imagine. So yeah, it was quite an exciting environment to grow on. And on the other hand, my parents never limited my access to books, There were no boundaries to the books that I could read or that I could keep to myself. So I remember when I was about, I don't know, perhaps 7 or 8 years old, I read this fantastic edition of The Three Musketeers of Alexandre Dumas. And it was just an amazing thing to read all these adventures and all these misadventures and all these amazing characters, and actually all these amazing women that were plotting and participating into the whole deal, and all these amazing circumstances in which a group of brave men faced the power and faced the church and faced all those awful things that are part of the human demise. I remember that to be my first serious reading, if you wish, and from then on I became a quite avid reader. Lucky me. Where do you read? Where do I read? Oh, well, I used to read everywhere. I used to, first of all, have a place to read, with a coffee chair and good light, and of course, surrounded by my own books. And I used to read everywhere when I was traveling and when I was waiting, when I was alone all the time. But nowadays I read in my wheelchair, which is where I am now, and which is the place in which I spend most of my time nowadays. I have the difficulty of an almost total paralysis of my body. The only hand that I had left is this one, my right arm. It poses a lot of difficulties for the act of reading, so now I always read in my working table with a holder for the book, so I can pass the pages with my free hand. It works quite good, and of course nowadays I have a lot of reading time, so I try to choose well, to choose wisely my readings, mainly because I am short of time according to medicine, but also because it poses a challenge, an energy challenge, as I said before. So I have no time to read bullshit. I need to read good books and cool stuff. And finally, what kind of books do you like to read? Well, I read a lot of literature in general. Narrative. I have a lot of books with, novels and novellas and tale collections. I like poetry a lot, so I have quite a populated collection of poetry. I have a lot of philosophy books. I like philosophy. I like the way in which human thinking can lost into itself and try to find deep truths and deep ideas and deep connections. So yeah, a lot of philosophy. I have some biographies. I would only read the biography of somebody that I've been interested in for a while. It's not that I will just grab a biography in the bookstore and read it. And I have a collection of books about photography. I've been a photographer for most of my adult life, so I have a deep interest in that subject. And about cinema too. I have quite a few beautiful books about cinema that you will learn about if you follow this channel, of course. Subscribe and all that. Think. And finally, oh no, that was it. Okay. So yeah, this is me. I hope you can bear with me. You can bear with my voice, distracted voice. And I hope to find more about you and your book interests in the comments or in your channels. I will follow any interesting booktuber I came across with. So let me know about you. Thank you very much and see you soon.